Today we're going to be talking to Ryan, the guitar player of the band Death Rattle, discussing their latest release, The Moral Chokehold, which was out May 30th. I hope you enjoy.
Hello.
Hi, how are you?
Can you hear me? I'm good.
I can. So it looks like you're out and about.
Yeah, I'm in the car. I'm doing a million things. I think I'm not exactly sure, but Trey and Chris might try to join,
Yep.
if that's okay. So I don't know if they will or not. They both know that it's this time. I sent them the email. I'm just checking to make sure that they got this correspondence. So, how are you?
Yeah, I'm doing well.
Good.
Good day so far. It's nice outside. I'm going to mow the lawn after this and and get some
Nice.
good sunshine and fresh air
Where are you located?
in Idaho, Boise, Idaho.
Okay, so is it hot today?
It's going to be. It's not yet because it's still fairly early, but it's going to be well in the 80s, not like super
Okay.
hot.
It's gonna be 93 here where I am today.
Oh, geez.
So
Where are you at?
well, I live in Nashua, New Hampshire, which is southern New Hampshire,
Oh,
but
okay.
I'm down in central Massachusetts today, which is like, an hour and 20 south of where I am.
So in at least in Massachusetts, is it like a muggy hot?
Yeah, what's interesting is when it first gets hot up here, it's really nice for a couple weeks, and then the humidity kicks in, and the rest of the summer is just pure thickness.
Yeah, yeah, that's what's nice about Idaho is it's a dry heat, and so it's not even when it's really hot, it's not too bad. You can be outside without feeling just super
Right.
yucky.
A good friend of mine, he moved to Boise about 7 years ago.
Oh, okay.
He loves it there. He said he loves it. He likes it a lot, really.
Yeah,
He
it's a
enjoys
really
it.
pretty area. The mountains are so close that it takes you maybe an
Yeah.
hour to get there, and
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
It's,
yeah. He talks about the mountains all the time. He loves the mountains.
I can't
Yeah,
imagine being in a state of where it's flat. Like that kind of freaks me out and weirdly makes me feel claustrophobic, which you would think it would be the opposite, like
yeah, because it's
mountains.
just open. Yeah.
Yes.
Have you
It's
ever have you ever driven through Kansas or the eastern half of Colorado?
mm-mm.
Okay. The only time I've driven that route in my life, I was on tour in 2017 supporting our second record, and it was you go through Kansas and the whole state is like a flat sheet of ice. It's incredible. And then you get into Colorado, you're like, oh, it's gonna get better. No, it doesn't get better for like hundreds of miles. Um, it's a continuation of Kansas for like a couple hundred miles, literally. And then all of a sudden, in the distance, you start seeing the Rockies, and it gets a little bit. You start realizing what you're seeing eventually, and then eventually they get bigger and bigger and bigger, and obviously you're there, which is amazing. But it's just crazy because it's so flat. And it's so weird because that part is so unbelievably flat and then it becomes so unbelievably mountainous. It's weird.
It's super weird. That is super weird. Yeah, you think it would be like a slow escalation, but yeah, going from completely flat to mountains would be weird.
Yep. And then I remember one time we were driving on a road in Kansas and we're going through this, it's just flat and empty forever and ever and ever and ever. And we're driving and all of a sudden we've been going straight forever. And then all of a sudden the road just turns right out of nowhere. And it was the weirdest thing ever. There's nothing around. There was no trees, rocks, homes, buildings, nothing. The road, and I was like, this doesn't make, and we had been driving for so many miles straight before it just turned out of nowhere. And I don't know why. I still don't know why.
Weird.
It
Weird,
was so,
weird.
it was so weird. I remember taking that turn. I'm thinking, so that we just went so many miles straight when we should have just been doing this instead the whole time.
Right.
Why would, I don't know.
Why are they making this sharp turn when it's just flat land everywhere?
It's
Yeah,
flat
it's
land
super
and
weird.
nothing was around at all anywhere. It didn't make any sense to me.
Oh my
So
gosh, I wonder how many people that aren't like paying super close attention have continued trying to go straight off that road.
right. I had my wits about me, so it was fine. But it was like that's weird. It just was weird.
Huh.
So I still can't figure out why they do that.
Yeah, yeah, bizarre. Yeah, I haven't even been very far east actually. I need to travel more, at least even within the states, but on
Yeah.
the west. I've been on to all the different western states and a couple of the
Okay.
southern ones, but not very far east.
Most of our touring has always been the eastern half of the United States because it's
Makes
hard to get
sense.
out there for 5 or 6 weeks, you know?
Yeah.
So, and obviously, like, you know how the states are, if you look at the country, the western half is just big states. And then
Mm-hmm.
as it gets east, the states tend to get smaller, you know, they get
Yes.
smaller and smaller. And so there's way more cities you can hit in the eastern half because you know you can do so many drives in the eastern half of the country that are anywhere from 1 to 4 hours from city to city.
Right.
But when you get to the western half of the
Oh yeah.
country, it's like 8 hours, 10 hours, 12 hours to the next city. You
Yes.
know, those
Yeah.
states are big.
A lot of the tours and stuff usually will skip Boise because they have to, they'll hit Seattle, they'll hit
Yep.
Portland, they'll hit a few of the cities in California, and then they'll hit Salt Lake. But we're just, yeah, way so far out of the way that it's like, is Boise really worth going that far out of our way for?
I feel like it's the bigger bands make it there sometimes because
Yeah.
they have the budgets and the income, and so
Mhm.
it doesn't hurt them, you know. But yeah, yeah, totally get it.
But then now we have a venue in Pocatello or Idaho Falls. I can't remember. One of those. They're close to each other. It's on the eastern part of the states or part of the state. And now they have a venue there. So like some of the big bands will go there instead of Boise. Like Judas Priest last year went there instead of Boise, and I was like, that's weird.
How far is that from you?
About 5 hours. It's quicker
Oh,
to go
oh,
down to Salt Lake
really? Oh,
from where I
wow.
am.
Damn. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, we've gone to Salt
See,
Lake for a few shows.
we are blessed to be where we are, because in my area, we're literally the mecca of music in the world. And the
Yes.
reason I say that is because in the Northeast, we have a bunch of cities all in close proximity from Boston and Worcester, Providence and Hartford. And then if we really need to travel 4 hours to New York City.
Right.
So from where I'm located, any tour that ever happens, pretty much guaranteed to hit at least one of my cities. And
Yeah.
like so Worcester is 1 hour from me. Boston's 1 hour. Providence is an hour and a half. Hartford's 2 hours. And then if I need to go to New York City, it's 4 hours. You see what I mean? So like
Yeah.
if I really need, we have so much availability up here. So that's really cool for us.
Well, for sure. But in that same vein, do you feel like you have a lot that you have to compete with as well because it is a musical
Oh yeah.
area?
That's absolutely the trade-off. That's
Hmm.
absolutely the trade-off. There's a lot to compete with.
Right.
So
Yeah. Yeah. Well, let's just dig into it. Just, I mean, if those guys end up coming, then
sure.
we'll just bring them in, and if not, then we'll just dig in.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
Did you
Um,
lose me? Okay,
I
there we
think so.
go.
I see. I can hear you, but I can't see you.
Why did that happen? Okay, I don't know.
There
This
we go.
is a silly system. Okay.
Technology. It's always a
Yes.
always a
Yep.
gamble. Um, so have you released two albums independently, and this is your first one on a label. What have been like the biggest differences between, because obviously there's going to be pros and cons. What are the biggest differences between working with a label now?
Yeah, it's been a change of pace because I'm so used to handling so many things for the band, and planning so many things. It's nice to have help. It's nice to have a team. It's nice to have, a guy like Marco who's an industry professional and knows what he's doing. He's been doing it a long time. That's very helpful. And there's been some bumps in the roads. There's been some mistakes have been made, but it's just, stuff happens and we just got to get past it. However, it's great to have a team and people on the social media end and in finding ways to get things in certain places that we can't do. So it's been very helpful. It's been a very different process, but also we set out on this record to work a lot harder and to get a lot more in depth with our songwriting, our production quality, and then all the things that also surround the record with the videography, photography, all the stuff, artworks, layouts. We really put a lot more into this, and that's kind of the new standard that we set. We have to continue moving forward.
Right.
So,
Yeah, you
yeah,
guys have done quite a few music videos. I was thinking 4 or 5, at least
for the,
four.
just for this record, there's four.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
So I mean you have some pretty creative things that you have in some of these videos. The one with the like puppeteer, like the circus
Yeah.
puppeteer, that one was super cool. Was
Yep.
that was
Thank
that
you.
something that the like you guys came up with, or like, or did you guys have like a video guy that has that creativity that was like, this is what the song sounds like it could do?
Well, actually, that particular video, Malthusian Dependency, that was one of the first. That was like the second or third song we wrote for this record. Um, and that video came to be because my friend Jesse is in a really successful metalcore band, and his new wife, his fiance at the time, I met her at the Palladium at a show. We were hanging out backstage talking, and she does like all kinds of pole dancing and all kinds of fire
You know,
tricks, and she does
you're
all
talking
kinds
about
of
Jesse Leach, aren't you?
yes.
Yes, I figured with because I
Okay.
didn't know
So,
that was her, but I knew she
yeah,
does
so
that stuff.
basically, um it our videographer was like, "Hey, like I have a cool idea for this video." He did come up with kind of the idea, something we could do something cool, and he said, "You know any actresses that would want to do this?" And I said, "I think I do." So I reached out to Jesse. I said, "Hey, are you cool if I ask her to act in our video?" He goes, "Absolutely." Gave me her number, and then so we started talking, and she's like, "Yeah, I'd love to do this." And so her and Jesse came out to the to video shoot, and she got this incredible attire. Just was like, she spent so long getting ready, but the proof was in the pudding. She looked incredible, and she did a great job. And I got to shout out to our videographer, Jonas Meyer. He's incredible. We've been working with him since the beginning, and he's amazing. And he just has a vision and a talent to put these things together. And so, with his leadership and his skills, and then her incredible skills, it just came together. It really became a really fun video.
Really cool. Yeah, I didn't know. I wouldn't have been able to tell that was her. With the makeup and everything, I wouldn't have been able to tell. But that's really cool.
Yep.
So is there a reason why you guys haven't had or why you didn't have Jesse on this album? You had Bjorn, but is there a reason why you haven't collabed?
Oh well, we're I'm not at liberty to say some things yet, but we there's some things in the works.
Cool. Yeah.
Um, but also yeah, we
He's
just
like the collab king. So
it was the timing. It was the timing of a lot of things. Bjorn Speed Strid is Trey's vocal hero. That's like Dimebag Daryl to me. I'm a huge Dimebag Pantera fan. So
mhm.
Bjorn Speed Strid is his hero, and we all love him. I mean, we all love Soilwork. Um, and so for to get him on the record was incredible. And then Trey knocked that song out of the park, as he did really all the songs. But he did an amazing job. And then obviously he wrote the song, and then Speed came in and just absolutely crushed it. And so we love that song. It was an
Definitely
honor
one
to
of
work
my
with him.
favorites too.
Yeah.
They
So, but we have
harmonize
some
really
collabs.
well.
Thank you so much. Yeah, we have some collabs in the works also for the next record too.
Oh, cool. Yeah, Jesse,
Yeah.
I swear he does so many different collabs, but he has so many different vocal styles that he's able to make it work with. Like the Wolfheart one, I was really shocked with, but it sounded great because I wouldn't have thought that
Yeah.
him and Tomas would have sounded
I
that well
love
together.
Wolfheart. I
I
love
do too.
Wolfheart. As a matter of fact, Thomas, he actually filmed a live music video in Tokyo for us
Oh, that's cool.
back in 2019. Our first international tour was to Japan, and was with Wolfheart and Nail Bliviscaris, and that's how I got to know those guys. It's actually how I became good friends with Jesse, meeting them through Wolfheart. Ironically,
Okay. Oh,
um, I
weird.
do, but yeah, as far as Jesse goes, I mean, I am such a huge fan of him, and he's such an awesome guy. His vocal work on all of his stuff is ridiculously amazing, and
Yeah.
so he's always been a musical kind of hero to us for
Yeah.
sure. He's amazing, and actually, my favorite vocal performance of all time on any record at any point is a Jesse Leach record, and it's the First Times of Grace record he did with Adam
Oh.
D.
Mm-hmm.
That record vocally, I feel he goes every place you could possibly go vocally. It's just unbelievable. So that record is like a really important record to me.
I'll tell you a really quick funny side note story here. My Jesse Leach story that I took years and years and years to finally figure out. I went and saw The Sword. I think it was the first or second time. I've seen him probably 20 times at this point.
Yeah,
But
thick band,
see, I love them.
thick
Um,
band. Yeah,
but it was like $5 or $7. The first and second time I saw him, it was the Age of Winters tour the first time, and I think it was $5. And I didn't know who they were. I was just like, oh, I'll go see some live music, and have
yeah,
become a huge fan since then. But Seamless was with them either the first or
yeah,
second tour, and
yeah,
absolutely, I love Seamless. He does such a different vocal style with that band.
yeah.
and he looked so different that I had no idea who he was. So I sat there and chatted with him for about an hour or something after the show. No idea. For years and years and years, no idea that that's who it was.
Yeah.
Because it looked and sounded so different.
Yeah. I feel like the band Seamless could have really taken off if they stuck with it longer.
Yeah, I
I
agree.
really think so. I really think so. But
Yeah.
obviously Killswitch Engage happened, you know?
Yeah.
So that
Well,
makes sense.
kill switch happened before and then again, yeah, after
Yeah.
they yeah,
Yep.
yep. Yeah, but yeah, it was
Yeah.
a funny thing. So yeah, the Nietzsche song is definitely one of my favorites. Another one of my favorites is Social War Machine. Tell me about that one. It seems the whole album seems like it has some pretty deep lyrics and some pretty impressionable lyrics. So tell me kind of about the overall theme and tell me about that song.
Thank you. Social War Machine was probably the second song written for this record. It's an older song. It's actually a song we started putting some parts together for back in probably 2019.
Oh
But we
wow.
net, we were trying to get the record written by, 2020 and get it 21. But because the pandemic and a lot of things happened, everything just changed for us. And um, yeah, Social War Machine is a fun one, and it's kind of a representative a song of the or traditional Death Rattle sound, kind of, like some caveman riffs and some, some just banging around with groove. But Chris actually came up with the pattern on his kick drums, and we built a riff off of it. The main riff in the song came off of his kick drum pattern, and that's very unusual. We typically never do that. I usually present the riffs, and then we work with it from there. But if the riff is cool, we go with it. If the riff's not that cool, we talk about it, we adjust it, or we scrap it. But he came up with this pattern. I'm like, that's kind of cool. I wonder if I can mimic that pattern. We figured it out, and we pieced it together, and we pieced it together, and then, we wrote a whole chorus for it in the studio with Kevin Billingsley, who did the record with, and Trey wrote. Honestly, Trey wrote the majority of that song in a hotel room with me in the morning. We are heading to the studio one day. It wasn't that particular song was not this deep, esoteric,
Hmm,
thought out thing. But the thing
interesting.
is, with Trey is really, really intelligent, great with words, great communicator, super skilled. And so for me, I need to sit down and like really hash things out. He can whip some stuff out and then fine tune it, and it's sick. So he's just really good like that. He's got a knack for writing a lot of the stuff that the band does, like as far as like putting stuff out for writing stuff, like as far as, you got to, put something for an article, or song by song write up. I sent it to him because
Oh,
he can do it 10 times better than I could ever do. So yeah. And then Social War Machine has my favorite guitar solo on the record as well. I didn't do a lot of lead work on this one, but that's my favorite one.
well, I'm a big guitar fan, and so that was one of the biggest things that stuck out to me too. And I mean, we everybody knows that you're a Dime fan because that's usually what you're playing is the Dean models. But
Always,
it's
yeah.
yeah, yeah, it's cool to hear you kind of showcase a little bit more of what you can do as well. My son is
Thank
a,
you.
a huge fan too, and is gonna go see them for the second time in August with his dad in Washington.
Nice. Cool. Very
Yeah,
cool.
he's pretty stoked. Yeah,
Nice.
obviously
That's awesome.
it's very different these days, but still,
Yeah. Yeah. It's very, very different.
yeah, for sure. But I mean, if anybody's gonna do it, Zach's gonna do it. So I was glad that that's who they got.
Yep.
Another song I wanted to talk about is March of Delusion. That one takes you on a little bit of a journey. So tell me about that one.
That song was mostly written by Rod. Rod was a session bass player with us, and he
Oh,
helped write a
okay.
few songs on the record. And that was one of the three that he really contributed to. And it's kind of trying to highlight, he wrote the lyrics and everything on that song,
Oh,
and he's trying to
interesting.
highlight the how we're being lied to, and we're being, impressed upon us things that are not true. And that's basically, what's real and what's an illusion is kind of like um that was the theme of that song.
Okay,
And
that's
actually, I think it's the most simple song in the whole record, pretty much.
oh, I like it though because it shifts melodies throughout, and I like songs like that, that
Yeah, for
that takes
sure,
you on,
for
I
sure.
just takes you on a little bit of a journey. Yeah.
Yeah.
What is one of the biggest things that you guys try to do in your live performances? What's something that's really important for you guys for people to walk away and think?
I think that uh, different types of music lend themselves to live shows better than others. We try to have a lot of mid-paced groove stuff that people can just kind of bang their head to and enjoy. And the other thing is that we're extremely passionate about what we play, and we try to leave everything out on the stage. We put a lot of energy into our performances, and it's really cathartic for us. And so I think that our biggest strength by far is our live show. And so that's why like we're trying to tour as much as we can this year. We just announced another tour. We've already toured quite a bit this year, and I wish it was more. You
Yeah.
know, we're touring a lot this year, and I wish it was a lot more.
Oh
I
my
wish it was all the
gosh.
time. But
Jeez.
yeah,
Heartbroken.
but I feel like that's our strength, and that's what we want to try to get across to people for sure.
Yeah, you guys have already done some shows with some pretty big bands. I'm trying to think. It was Soulfly. I remember Unearth. I'm a huge Unearth fan. Um, uh, I'm trying to. Those were the two that really stuck out to me because those are the two I really really like. But who are some bands that you guys would like to? I'm sure there's a list, but still would like to
Yeah.
be able to play with and tour with. Who's like one of
It's
the top like three that just
Oh
off the top of
man,
your head?
it's tough because you can only pick three, and I'm speaking for myself, not my bandmates
Of
here right
course.
now. It's
Yeah.
tough, man. I mean, obviously, like um, a one band that I absolutely love always is Kill Switch Engage.
Mm.
And someday I'd love to tour with them. We are all collectively huge Gojira fans.
Oh.
Um, Speaking for Trey in particular, and us obviously collectively, and some Swedish melodic death metal bands, Soilwork, In Flames, any of those bands from Sweden, like we love all those bands from Sweden. Another band we'd love to tour with again that we toured with in Japan in 2020 was Revocation.
Uh-huh.
Um, I love those guys, and that band is so sick. It's not for everybody. It's very technical and very. It's kind of it's really advanced metal, but it's
Hmm.
it's so sick. And that's one of the most talented bands I've ever seen in my life, and I've seen a lot of talented bands, and they are just otherworldly of unworldly origin. These guys are incredibly talented. So I would say that, yeah. But the list goes on and on and on. The bands we'd love to tour with, you know.
Need to listen to them more. I just saw a cover that there was one of the guys from Revocation. It was oh shoot, who were the other Troy Sanders from Mastodon, and they were covering a um Megadeth song. I think it was Holy Wars. I can't remember who the
Yes.
other.
Oh, it was a four-person split screen. Yeah, it was
Yes. Can't remember who
what
it was another really big band too, and I can't think of who it was.
yeah. That was during the pandemic. That was few years ago. Yeah.
I just
Time is
barely
flying.
I just barely saw it for the first time, yeah, the other day. It what
Yeah.
can't
That was
remember
done
who it
during the
was.
pandemic. Yeah.
What is it with these bands from Sweden? I've interviewed quite a few of them at this point, and it's so weird because they come out with the best music. They're the In Flames is my all-time favorite band. They come out with the
They're
best.
amazing.
Oh gosh, they're incredible.
It's so
But there's
good.
so many bands that come out of Sweden, and it's weird because Sweden they don't have metalheads. They very rarely any of those rock and metal bands from there very rarely play in Sweden because it's not preferred music over there. And so I'm like, how are you guys coming out with the best that music has to offer from a country that doesn't
It's
even support you?
I don't know. There's like, I mean, the list of great Swedish bands is like almost inexhaustible, and
It's
it's not even a big
crazy.
country. Which is crazy. It's not even a big country, and they're just
Yeah.
making all these incredible bands. I don't know. Maybe it's something in the water. Maybe it's that Nordic water. I don't know, you
That's
know. But
exactly
I
that's
mean,
exactly what
but
I said. I'm
actually,
like,
if
what water are you drinking?
yeah, but if you look at Norway, Sweden, and Finland, those Nordic countries, I mean, all those countries produce a lot of great metal bands. And
Hmm.
maybe it's the hard winters and the darkness, and maybe it's the
Hmm.
I don't know, but it's just they like you said, In Flames. I mean, who doesn't love In Flames? I mean, that band
Hmm.
is that would be obviously. a dream to tour with them someday. Unbelievable. But yeah, like it's just it just Sweden just does it.
It's crazy. It's
So it's just
crazy.
crazy. But Sugar is from Sweden, you
Yeah.
know? It's just
All
crazy.
the that
It's
Capitatonia, Candlemass.
I love Catatonia.
Oh my
I just
gosh.
oh man, I
Their
was
new
listening to
album is
Catatonia on the way
so
down to
good.
they're so good.
No, their new
Everything they
album.
do. Yep.
Yeah. Sorry, keep
They
going.
are killing. They no, they are. I was listening to them on the way down here. I was listening to two records by them. I just love that band. A couple
Mhm.
years ago, my friend Felipe, who actually is going to tour with us in September in Europe, he turned me on to them. I had never listened to them. I had seen people wearing the shirts, but I had never listened to them.
I
And
heard one right now.
I, oh, I'm in the top 1% of Catatonia listeners. And I do most of my listening on YouTube though. And I was in the top 1% of Catatonia listeners, and it was by far the most I had listened to of any band in all of 2023 and all of 2024.
My gosh.
Yeah, they're
That's awesome.
such a great band. And actually, Jens Bogren, who did our mix and master on the Moral Chokehold, he does their stuff.
Oh, that's
And
cool.
so
Okay.
it's part of why their stuff sounds so ridiculously good?
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Yeah, their new album I'm really really digging. I interviewed Nico um a couple weeks ago on it, and it's incredible. So just because we're talking about this, favorite In Flames song and favorite Catatonia song?
oh man. All right. So, for In Flames, for me, it's Cloud Connected.
Yeah, so
Um,
good.
because that song, that song literally inspires me to write songs like that. But to pick a favorite In Flames song is also tough because I could pick 30 more songs easily.
Hmm.
Um, and Catatonia, it's probably gonna, it might surprise you, but without a doubt, it's called Unfurl.
Oh, huh? From their was it the last one?
I'm not sure, but
Maybe two
Unfurl,
ago.
yeah, a couple records ago. It's the calmest song ever, and
Hmm.
I just can't get enough of it. It just gives
Yeah.
me a feeling. So Unfurl, absolutely love that song.
Awesome, awesome.
Yep,
Love it.
yep.
Okay, let's get back to Death Rattle. So the name of the band obviously is obvious. It's such a metal like name of a band. But what made you guys I'm sure you had lists of names. What made you guys decide on that name?
We had lists of names, like you said, and we nothing. When you're trying to take something very seriously, and naming a band becomes very difficult because you really want to get it right, and you'll have guys present ideas that are cool, that are not cool, that are across the whole spectrum. And so, like, we had some winners in the list that were like, okay, we feel like we're liking this, and then one day I was talking to Jimmy, the other guitar player who I ironically hung out with last night. He used to be in the band. He was around for the first two records. Um, we were going around with band names and we weren't sure. And I had my Pantera Reinventing the Steel guitar book on my bed, flipped over. I had been learning some songs because during the early Death Rattle days, we were trying to write songs for the first time, but we are covering a lot of songs. We're covering
Yeah.
Pantera and Lamb of God songs.
Mhm.
And so we were trying to build our repertoire while covering songs. So we're covering songs, we're getting our chops up and all this stuff. And I looked down at the bed I just saw Death Rattle on it. And I said, hey, how about Death Rattle? And he's like, that's actually like a really cool name. And so I presented it to everyone at the next practice. Hey guys, I have an idea for a band name, Death Rattle. And everyone was like, oh, that's really cool. But we never agreed on it.
Oh,
It just it we never
just
agreed on it. It just was like as we went on, we're like, are we Death Rattle? Because it was the favorite choice that had been presented yet, and
mhm.
nobody came up with another name, and we just kind of went with it, and that was it. It just kind of it wasn't like on this day I
Yep.
decree we are Death Rattle. It was like, I guess we're Death Rattle, and we just went with it. And then
Yeah.
our original vocalist Donnie, who was on the first record, he basically drew up like a logo that looked really cool, and then we were off and running. That was it.
Well, I'm actually shocked that there's not a lot of metal bands called that because it seems like such an obvious like I said metal band name. So it's cool that you guys got to be able to nab it.
Well, there's been a few though. There's another Death Rattle that started last year. I saw in Arkansas. They're like but they're a hardcore band. And and then another band that we were concerned about many years ago, which actually is kind of cool. They've been defunct for years now. I don't think they put anything out since probably 2014 or 2016. But uh they're called Death Rattle, but they're from the UK.
Okay. Is
And
that the one with the
they
female vocalist? I did see one with
yeah,
the female vocalist.
yeah, it's like an electronic pop duo. And
Hmm.
actually the songs are kind of cool, but it's way different. Like there's nothing like us.
Yeah, yeah, it makes more sense for it to be a metal. I don't know.
I
It
agree.
seems to me fits better.
I totally agree. Yeah.
Um, Now with you guys, this is something I like to ask people that do tackle kind of heavy topics, and because the album does have a lot of heavy topics, what are some things that you do to like protect your mental health for self-care, to make sure that you're balanced?
Ironically, that's a great question. I actually have worked a lot of that in my life, and I also coach a lot of people through this stuff. But believe it or not, the biggest thing, and a lot of people kind of get taken back when I say this, but nutrition
Oh yeah.
plays a massive role in mental health.
Mm-hmm.
And we have a gut brain connection. It's like when
Mm-hmm.
you hear bad news, you feel the pit in your stomach.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it goes both ways. What you put in your stomach also fuels your brain. And so, and actually nutrition plays a huge role. And so I live ketogenically. I live on a ketogenic carnivore diet. And then Trey is very similar to me. He's a ketovore. He's basically like me, but a little more plant foods in his diet than myself. That plays a huge role. And I've not only have I done a ton of research on this, but I've also I've done beta testing on myself, and I've paid attention when I'm doing the right thing, when I'm not doing the right thing, and how I feel. And when I eat a high fat diet, my brain is super powered. I feel really good, you know. And that's pretty much makes sense because the brain is made of so much fat and cholesterol. So people always talk what I find the issue I find is people talk about mental health and all this stuff, and we have an epidemic of mental health issues with people, and nutrition rarely if ever gets talked about. It's always about counseling and therapy and supporting people, and that's so important. But like a fundamental fact is that we need to treat our bodies better, and our brain and our bodies are connected. And so, that's something that I think is not talked about enough. And I think that if that word got out there more, it would help a lot more people.
I agree 100%. I am a mental health therapist outside of that I just do for fun. And I took a class, I think it was just last year, called the Brainbow Connection. And that's what the whole class was about was, yeah, I mean, obviously, yeah, us that research or are in that world know that the brain and the body are connected. And so for me, I'm like, yeah, absolutely. It makes all the sense, but I understand that it's not like common knowledge and it should be common knowledge for everybody.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Well, and I'll tell you this, for 9 years, I professionally taught nutrition and fitness.
Oh, okay.
Um, yep. And I was educated through ISSA. I studied under Dr. Jack Barnathan in New York Strength. I had to do continuing education credits every year. And I'll tell you that most of the stuff that I taught, or not most, but a good portion of the stuff that I taught and I believed is not true. And a lot of the common paradigm that we live under is not true. A lot of things that become fact because they've been repeated so much, not only are they not true, they're the opposite of the truth. It took me many years of personal research to figure these things out. So, um, we talk about fat, and that fat's bad for you. You should be eating a high fat diet and no carbs, is how we should, or low
Mm-hmm.
carb.
Mm-hmm.
But instead, since the 90s, there's been the campaign against fat. Everything was low fat, fat free,
Mm-hmm.
whatever. And that's actually not good. Your brain is 60% fat, EPA, DHA fat. A quarter of it's made out of cholesterol. If you're not meeting those reserves every day, you're literally not functioning properly. And also, long term after long terms of this, myelin sheets and things in the brain stop working. There's so many things that happen biologically. And so eating a ketogenic diet helps, up until the 1930s, epilepsy was treated with ketogenic diet.
Oh,
But yeah, it was the most common treatment for epilepsy, and it fixes epilepsy. The problem is they then created the medications, which are easier than adhering to a ketogenic diet, and so you can just take a pill. And that's okay, but also it's not okay. You
Right.
instead of if that makes sense. So it's
Absolutely.
yeah. This is something I do. A huge part of my life is literally this avenue. So
No, I
yeah,
actually have done the keto diet before too, and I noticed the same thing. I noticed I have more energy. I don't crash as hard. I can think clearly, more clearly.
yeah,
I can get so much more done, and I feel so much more just capable, and so I absolutely agree. And that's where, because there's so many fads that have happened all throughout all of the years, that I got to a point to where I was just like, oh my gosh, this is just another one of those fads. But you have to, like, check it out for yourself and see if it works. And that
yeah.
was definitely one that I was like, I can tell a difference. So yeah, I'm totally with you. Have you seen the Chris Hemsworth Limitless series that's on Disney?
I have not.
It's really cool. I can't remember how many episodes it is, but he tackles a different subject in each one. Like in the first one, he tackles like anxiety and fear because he's afraid of heights. And so he works with these specialists and he like works on not necessarily conquering that, but learning about like why he's having the anxious
Yeah,
response and trying to but then he also does like the cold plunge that's supposed to
yep,
like help with renew, dead cells and all that kind of stuff. And
absolutely.
every
Yeah,
episode he does, it's a really, really good. It's one of my favorite series. The last one he tackles getting older and how people really struggle with getting older and afraid of death and afraid of just looking and getting older. Um
we
it's
can't
really,
avoid
really
it.
good. I highly, highly
Yeah,
suggest it for
I'll check it out.
anybody.
Unfortunately, that's something we can't avoid. We just got to do the best we can while we're here
Absolutely.
and
Yeah. And
and try to
because he
enjoy
works
it.
with these specialists that kind of give him a different perspective on things, it helps people that might feel the same way get a different perspective as well. Like, I'm just thankful to not everybody gets to be, the age I am. So I'm just thankful that I get to be this age and, keep
Yeah,
aging.
yeah,
Yeah.
interesting.
Um,
Yeah,
yeah. So the album, we're like all over the place here. This is why I don't come out with like traditional questions because I'd rather have like a conversation, but sometimes I definitely
yeah,
can spider web off.
yeah, for sure.
But the album's been out less than a week at this point. All of it. I know you guys had released quite a few songs beforehand, but how do you feel like the overall response has been? I've seen nothing but positive.
Yeah, no, we're very grateful for almost all completely positive reviews.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, we've had almost all completely positive. We're very grateful for that. We had one really, really bad review
Really?
where this guy just absolutely hates us, and he didn't say a single nice thing in the whole thing. And then he even went on to say that we carry a club around to beat ourselves with. So, um, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Does he
So
hate metal or what in the
uh,
world?
I don't know, but he seemed very angry, so we're just gonna let him be angry, I guess.
Yeah, you should title one of the next songs for the next album or the whole album one of the.
Yeah, I guess some bad press is better than no press. But we've had, I mean, the reviews have been overwhelmingly great. We're grateful for that. We really are. So that's really nice. But you can't win them all.
No, for sure. And honestly, the bigger and bigger you get, the more you're gonna get people like that just because that's the way of the world. But I love it. I
Yeah.
think it's an incredible album. I had heard it oh, I mean, while ago. I had actually tried to set up an interview months ago. And I don't know, I can't remember what happened, if it just got lost along the way or if you guys maybe were just if you're touring a lot, you guys might have just been busy.
Oh,
Um,
they probably didn't send it to us at the time because we toured a lot this year
Yeah, I'll bet. Because
so
I think
far.
they said, I think on every once in a while I'll get, well, do you want to do an emailer? And I'm like, I don't, because I don't like to do choppy questions like that. And then it just feels unnatural and I just don't like to do it. I think it
Those are
might
my
have
least
been.
favorite. I'd rather talk to you and meet you and get to know you and say hi and
Right.
it's way cooler this way. Way
Yeah.
cooler.
Yeah. And I think most people rather would, be able to see the musician and hear what they have to say and get some
Right,
insight. And yeah.
right.
Well, you guys are going, I think, Europe next. Is that what I saw?
Yeah, we have a couple of basically record release shows on the 13th and 14th in Manchester, New Hampshire at Jewel, and then the Cage in Lewiston, Maine with our friends in Ascent to Power.
Awesome.
And then we don't have any shows booked until we head to Europe. And then we got 22 shows I think it's 22 shows in Europe with
Awesome.
Atheist and
Hmm.
Origin, a band from I think kind of near your way, a band called Gorgatron, a little maybe a state or two away from you, and then
Okay.
some support bands from Infested Angel and Intrepid from
Nice.
both. I want to say the U. I think Infested Angels from UK and Intrepid is from Estonia.
Okay, cool.
Yep.
So do you know what the plans, I mean, and it's okay if you can't say it. But do you know what the plans are after that tour? Is it continuing to do tour, or are you guys gonna go
Yeah,
back
I
into the
think
studio?
I don't think we'll have another tour besides that one this year. We'll do some more dates here and there,
Hmm.
but we need to crack back down and get hard back on working on the new record again. So we've got some stuff in the works, but we've been delayed on a couple days, so we got to get back in the saddle there and really hunker down and get some more songs written and get pre-production done for the next record. So we want to follow up soon.
Okay. And obviously you're still in the very early makings of it, but do you have a year of when you guys are wanting to get the new one out? I mean, you guys just came out with this one, but let's go ahead and talk about the next one.
Yeah, I mean, I would love to get it as soon as possible, but it's so hard to say because, it's not just the writing and recording, but it's just so many aspects. Like this record has been done for 2 years,
Mhm.
so it's we had this record done in 2023, but it took so long, label shopping with management and all the stuff. It just took so long, and
Mhm.
there's nothing we could do about it, and
Yeah.
everything just took just so long. Beyond our control.
Mhm.
We just do the best we can, and it just took forever. So,
Yeah, yeah, that
yep,
happens. Yeah. Well,
yep.
hopefully
So,
this next one will be a little bit smoother now that you're
yeah, for
headed to
sure.
a
No,
label.
I assume it will be.
Yeah.
We're gonna be very aggressive working on it. And then, we're gonna work on the song a lot this summer, and then we'll go do the tour, and then we get back from that, and then we'll spend the rest of the winter working on the record and just playing some shows here and there. That's the goal.
Awesome, awesome. Cool.
Yep.
Well, yeah, I love the album. Like I said, I've been
Thank
listening
you.
to it for a while. I love it. I think there's a lot of you don't get bored because there's just a lot of different things that's going on through from song to song. And I
Thank
appreciate
you.
that.
I
Uh,
appreciate that. If you had to pick a song that you think stands out, or a song or two that stands out to you, that you like the most, what would you think so far?
I
Can you
think the
think of?
Nietzsche song is probably my favorite just because the harmonizing between the two
Yeah,
it's very it pulls on some soulful strings, it really kind of
yeah,
like I notice like when I feel like I need to take a deep breath when I'm listening to a song, that's a good thing for me because I'm feeling
good.
it so deeply that I
Yeah.
have to, and I feel like that with that one. And so that one is definitely pretty high up there. And then there's one I don't know how to pronounce the word. It's the one before starts with an N. It's
Noctivagant.
not, yes, that one. I really, really like that one too. That one keeps sticking out to me as well. But I was
It's
like,
a
I
cool
don't know how
one.
to say
Yeah.
that word. What does that mean? I didn't look it up.
Noctivagant. I'm actually not the best to explain this.
That's okay. That's okay.
um, Noctivagant is Trey came up with that in his esoteric mind that he has, and I don't really I don't want to speak on it actually
Okay,
because
that's
I'm not exactly sure.
well, that one I really, really have enjoyed. I enjoy all of them for different reasons. But that one's one that I noticed that every time I listened to the album, I was like I would get really excited that that one was on. And
Awesome.
so that one's another one. What's yours? What's your favorite to play or favorite just that you guys created?
My favorite to play is The Darkness.
Mm-hmm.
I just love that song so much. I love the groove in it and the chorus, and I love the progressive end.
Yes.
The closer on the record. It's also the closer in our live set.
Oh,
Um,
cool.
yeah, so it's a special song. But I mean, I love Malthusian. I love Nietzsche. I love Immerse in the Black. The Venom in the Crown is one of my favorite
That
ones. It's
one's a cool one.
very aggressive. It's fast and aggressive, and
Yes.
um, it's the fastest riff I've ever written in that song.
Yeah. Do
I
you get
love,
nervous to play it?
yeah. What's that?
Do you get nervous to play it then because it's so fast?
No, well,
No.
we haven't played it live yet. We're gonna introduce that Social War Machine and maybe another one soon, and Nietzsche at the upcoming shows. We're gonna introduce some new songs, but no, not nervous to play. It's just It's just got to be on point. That's all.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know if you've seen the videos of my son, but my son plays guitar and he just played his first. I mean, he's played with his band, but they just do covers. But he played with
Yeah.
one of the local bands that had asked him to come and join them for 3 songs. And they're like a progressive metal band that's metalcore, progressive. I don't know. They're really interesting.
Yep.
But I was like, oh my gosh, are you nervous because this is playing with a bigger band and on a stage and everything? And he didn't really get nervous, which I was really shocked. And so I thought, okay, I wonder if he's got like too much confidence and is gonna just melt up there. He just killed it. He just
That's
freaking killed
awesome.
it. He just looked so comfortable. He's 17 years old and he just was like natural and so comfortable and just freaking killed it. And so I'm hoping
That's
that
awesome. And
he's
well,
able
everybody
to.
handles that differently. Everybody handles that differently. Some people like freak out. Some people like can't wait. And there's a whole spectrum of it. Like
I
there's
don't
like a
know if I've
range.
ever talked to someone who doesn't get nervous though. Most people, even the people that have been doing it for years and years and years are like, no, I still get pre-show jitters. Do you?
Yeah, I get a little bit of the pre-show jitters. It's toned down over the years as I played
Yeah.
so many shows and so many big
Hmm.
shows. But um, for me, it comes down more to just the excitement. I get to go out there and do my favorite thing in the
Yes.
world.
Yeah.
And I feel more alive when I'm doing that than anything I've ever done.
Hmm.
So to create something that you feel good about and then also getting it out there to the world is a really good feeling.
Yeah.
And when it's positively received, it's really
Yeah.
means a lot. Like we did the tour with Gorgoroth in Europe after we did the Japan dates with Left to Die. We did the Gorgoroth tour and we basically we were I'll never forget this. We had this happened a few times in the tour, but the most notable one was the second show of the tour in Zabrze, Poland. um, and the place was packed. It was nuts. The crowd is massive and great. We're the second band on the tour, so there's an opener, there's us, and then there's our buddies in Eternus who are incredible, and then Gorgoroth, who's obviously in a legendary black metal band. um, and we had one more song chance in Polish,
Oh,
and we were the only band on the whole tour to get that.
interesting.
And we were, yeah, I mean, Gorgoroth at the end of their set sometimes would get a one more song thing, but that's normal. That's the headliner. But
Yeah.
we were getting one more song chance in the crowd. It was fascinating.
That's
And so
so cool.
we were on a black metal tour we didn't even fit with.
Yeah,
And so
right.
things went well. So
That is so cool.
yeah, so it
It's
felt
so well
really,
deserved.
thank you. It went well. And so, it felt really good. So, that was really cool. So,
Looking
but
forward to more of those times then in the future.
yes, I can't wait to go back to Europe. We got some shows this month, and then we're off for a couple months, but then we have the tour in September, and we're working on some stuff for October, November, some shows. So
Awesome.
yeah, lots of playing this year, and I wish it was
Yes.
more.
Well, I hope you guys end up over in our neck of the woods. I know probably not this year, but hopefully in the next couple years.
Well, hopefully next year, but we're
Yeah.
we're hunting, we're aggressively hunting for U.S. tour opportunities. So, but just nothing has fallen, so we decided to go back
Hmm.
to Europe, and that was the best opportunity we had. So that's
Well,
kind of
there's
how it
some
happened.
always some incredible metal that is consistently coming out, and you guys can fit with a lot of different styles. And so I won't be surprised if I see you on a big bill coming up
We're working on it, so we're trying to put the word out there, make it happen.
within flames.
Be still in my heart.
We just saw them in April. And yeah, just every time I just want to cry the whole time. I get so excited.
They have the success that they have because of how great they are. It's really that
Yeah.
simple.
Their
They've made
melodies are some of the best.
Yeah, they have a good combination of some awesome riffs, amazing lead guitar, amazing vocal lines, just all of it. They've
Hmm.
got it. They've got the whole thing down. It's really what it is. And that's why they're successful. They're just killer.
Yeah. My
Yeah.
son actually like his whole life when he was in my belly, he really liked Pantera. He moved a lot with Pantera, but he grew up listening to Killswitch and In Flames and he just never
Yeah.
never was a fan of them until the last year and now he loves both of them, but finally
Yeah.
when I saw that flip switch, Yeah, switch, flip, whatever.
Yeah,
I was like, okay, he's there, he gets it, and now he loves both of them. But
yeah,
it took him some
yeah.
time.
Those two bands to me are very, very important to me. For
Same.
sure. Yep.
Same. Positive, good lyrics that just make you feel good. And every time you see him, you just leave just on cloud nine, feeling good.
Yep.
Yeah,
Absolutely. I
awesome.
saw real quick. Probably one of the best tours I've ever seen was Meshuggah in Flames. I think it was early
Oh,
last year or the year
jeez.
before. Woo, it was amazing.
We just saw Meshuggah with Carcass and Cannibal Corpse, which was a really
I
interesting.
didn't see this tour. I saw the last tour. The last tour had In Flames. I'm like, I'm going to this.
Oh, I would have jumped on that so quick too. They didn't come
They
here,
must have
but
not gone near. Well, they must have not gone near you because I'm sure you would have known about it.
oh, definitely,
Because I'm
definitely.
sure you would have gone. It
In
must not have
Flames,
come
I
near
will
you.
go to the ends of the earth to
Yeah,
see. Yeah. We actually traveled to
absolutely.
Salt Lake for it, but yeah. Oh man, that's an awesome lineup. Yeah.
Oh, it was the hell of a show.
So
Yep.
there we go. Death Rattle and well, In Flames and Meshuggah, who do you have headline? I mean, I would have Meshuggah than In Flames, but that's hard.
I don't know who. I think Meshuggah might be bigger. I'm not sure.
Probably.
I think Meshuggah is actually bigger, which is fascinating if you think about it, because In Flames is so much more melody into their vocals and to their music writing. Meshuggah just bludgeons you to death, but
And you
it's
can't
so.
don't know when
But
you
it,
should move your head or when you should.
yeah. But also Meshuggah is so sick. Like I had some
Yeah.
friends over last night and we were talking about it and like, you know, how incredible that band is. And live, they're
Yeah.
just out of this world. You watch them, you're just like, how are you doing this?
Oh, right. And
I
they
mean,
do the light show on top of it.
it's incredible. But as a professional musician, I'm watching these guys like, how do they do this?
I don't know. They're wizards, man. Which is weird because not a lot of people who aren't like music lovers as far as the instruments, not a lot of people necessarily love that kind of music that is very almost mathematical because it's so
Yeah,
bizarre and it's so like offbeat and they keep doing those in between steps and so it is interesting. But I will
yeah,
tell you with I do a lot of interviews and the majority of the time if I do ask about like bands that they're listening to or some of their favorite bands and stuff, 9 times out of 10 people say In Flames. So musicians love In Flames, and obviously musicians love Meshuggah too. But it is
yeah.
interesting that Meshuggah would be a bigger one.
Yeah, it just kind of, well, I mean, one thing I've always found interesting is if you look at the new wave of American heavy metal, which is really like kind of like the metalcore movement, um, you got all those bands in the early 2000s that came out with metalcore. And you look at, I mean, you start with the East Coast in my area, you've got Killswitch Engage, Shadows Fall, All That Remains, Unearth. And then you've got even the Red Chord, you've got, and down in New Jersey, you had God Forbid,
Mm,
a couple hours away, and God Forbid. And then, on the West Coast, I believe you had As I Lay Dying, which is obviously a legendary metalcore band. And then, you've got Parkway Drive in Australia. You've got, some different pockets, right? But Lamb of God is bigger than every single one of those bands.
yeah, yeah.
And, and what I find fascinating is, you go see Killswitch Engage, one of my all-time favorite bands, and they will have you're singing along to almost every song. You're just the
Hmm.
whole crowd is singing. It's that type of band because you
Yes.
love these songs. You're addicted to these songs. But then Lamb of God is the type of band that goes out there is far more aggressive,
Hmm.
less marketable
Hmm.
in the sense of generalities. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
then and then they grow to this massive, massive success.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it doesn't always make sense in that regard. Like you'd think
Yeah.
like In Flames would be like on more radio stations and more, but then, I've always felt like there's a few bands I can think of that I think should have been way bigger. Two in
Hmm.
particular is Soilwork,
Uh-huh.
and also God Forbid. I think two
Yeah.
bands that should have been bigger than they were. And I
Yep.
don't know why it was what it was, but it's just it's how the cards fall, I guess.
Yeah.
It can be how the cards fall.
It's definitely bizarre when you start really thinking about it. Unprocessed is one that I think should be much bigger. And 12 Foot
Okay.
Ninja. Unprocessed, they're from Germany. They're like
Yeah.
Polyphia, but with lyrics. And the
Oh,
dude,
really?
that sings and plays, I cannot for the life of me understand how he is able to play the complicated parts that he plays. He's playing these progressive, crazy notes and he's singing on top of it, obviously in a with in a different melody. And I'm like, I can't even, I didn't even think it was possible. He's incredible.
Some people are just like that. Dave Davidson of Revocation, he's nuts. The things that this guy can do on the guitar and then the vocals, it's like I don't know how. Some people have that. Alexi Laiho from Children of Bodom was like that.
Yeah, that's
And
true.
you're just like, wow, man. He's like, as a guitar player, I looked at these guys and I was like, wow, unbelievable guitar players.
Or
You
yeah,
know?
no, I used to
So
play guitar and trying to sing. I like only I could do like Nutshell, but even that took me some time to, and it's the same melody. Like it's not, it goes with the what you're playing, but it's like trying two different parts of the brain, trying to figure out how to work at the same time. It's crazy.
yeah. Oh yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, thank you, Ryan, for taking all of this time with me. I
Thank
super,
you.
super appreciate it. And I'm really looking forward to seeing what you guys do moving forward and hoping that this just becomes bigger and bigger for you.
We appreciate you so much. Thank you for having us.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Have a
Thank
good
you.
rest of your day. Hopefully it's not too crazy.
All right. Be well. Thank you so much.
You too. See ya.
Bye.